Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to a new video. I know it's been a very long time since I've made one of these more informative videos, but I'm happy to bring this to you because it's something that will be useful to many of you who found this channel from the fact that I relocated to Portugal almost 2 years ago now, which is crazy that it's been that much time. Some of you, of course, know me from living in Bali for 4 years, but I did go through and share this whole process of the visa and everything that happened for me to officially move to Portugal. So, I've actually, walking in the street, met some of you. People have literally come up to me and said, thank you for recording these videos. They helped me in the process, whatever. And today this video is going to be something that is along those lines, again, for those either thinking of moving to Portugal or have already moved here. Trust me, this video is going to be extremely useful to you, and I wish that someone had made it, that I could have watched this and it would have maybe saved me a lot of stress actually that I've been through for the last few weeks. So let me rewind and let me share topically what the point of this video is. We're going to be talking about taxes for expats slash foreigners, immigrants, whatever you want to call it. I know that some of you get very butthurt when I say that I'm an expat, but to me, expat means someone who moves and is not, looking for a job. I'm a self-employed entrepreneur and I moved to Portugal just because I didn't want to die alone in Bali. So my life here is much more expensive than it was in Bali, and consequently actually a lot more complicated as well. Now, in 4 years of living in Bali, just to, again, quick summary, but to give some context, I did have a business in Bali and I filed business taxes, but I never filed personal income taxes in Bali. Maybe I should have, maybe I shouldn't have. Actually, I think I should have, but I never did, and that was fine. Now, here with Portugal, I want to do everything correctly by the book, etc., and I knew that I was going to have to pay taxes here. So I am on the NHR program, the non-habitual resident, which I think ended at the end of 2023. So I just kind of got right in under that deadline. I'm not sure whether or not they've extended that or it's finished, but regardless, you do have a lot of beneficial tax, situations if you are on this NHR program. So it was very important to me that I get that. Now, let me give some further clarification. So I am a business owner. I have a business in the United States and I get income from the business. Now, Portugal taxes income in different ways under the NHR scheme. If you earn dividends, the tax rate is actually 0%. So that's great. If you own a business and you are just receiving income as dividends or dividends from whatever else you might have, stocks, etc., you are not taxed on that. Now, they do tax income. However, there are some differences about what the tax rates are, whether you're earning that income in Portugal or outside of Portugal. And then there are things, like the double taxation treaty. So as an American citizen, I have to pay and file income tax in the United States no matter what. Now, if you are from any other country besides the United States, and I think like Etria or some other random country, you only pay the taxes in the country of which you are a resident. Okay, so that's like, let's say you have been living in Portugal for a year and you're from France. Well, you would pay your taxes in Portugal and not in France. But again, I'm an American, so I still have to pay my taxes in the United States. Now, finding a tax preparer in Portugal who was competent to deal with the technicalities of how I earn my income and wasn't going to charge me an enormous amount was very difficult. So I started asking around to my expat friends, do you have a recommendation, and this, that. One person that I reached out to wanted 1,200 euros plus 23% VAT to do my taxes. Now that is insane. Let me just tell you now that there are a lot of people who will charge you a lot of money to do things that is just unnecessary and outrageous. Like, that is far too much money. That's more than I pay to do my business taxes in the United States. It's more than I do to actually do my business plus personal taxes in the United States. So I was like, all right, no way. There's no way that I'm going to pay that much. Then I asked another friend of mine and she referred me to this company called Finanças, and I ended up hiring them because they said that it would cost 350 euros to do my taxes. Now, 350 euros compared to 1,200 definitely seems reasonable, even though, again, that's still kind of a lot of money for Portugal. Now, I should have taken it as a red flag when, they sent me an engagement contract and nobody from this company ever called me, ever spoke to me directly about what my situation was. Now, I did explain, yes, I'm a business owner in the United States. That's how I earn my income. And so, I assumed, all right, this is a company that specializes in foreigner tax filings here in Portugal. Like, I'm sure that they're going to do it properly. So, they sent me an invoice a couple months later, and I really had to follow up because I think that I sent them my information to do my taxes back in maybe May or June. And then months went by, I didn't hear anything. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? Because I knew that the deadline was August for the filing. So finally they said, yes, we filed your taxes and here's a simulation. You are going to owe 1,500 euros. And I was like, all right, well, that doesn't seem like that much money, so not a big deal, whatever. Then I kind of didn't think about it for a little while. And then I noticed something in my mailbox here. And consequently, I don't know if this is the universe like playing a trick on me, what really was going on, but I had lost my mailbox key for a couple weeks. So I had seen like a letter from the Finanças in my mailbox, but I could not access it. So finally I get a replacement key for my mailbox. And then I get the letter from Finanças. And I open it up, it's this letter, little small letter, and it says, I owe the Portuguese government 4,453 euros and 12 cents, and it is due basically within like 14 days of when I actually received this letter. And I'm like, what the hell? Because when I received the simulation bill from these tax preparers, it was supposed to be 1/3 of this amount. So I was very confused and rather alarmed. And then I started to look into it, and I looked into the documents that I had on the NHR, and I was like, I seem to be charged at basically 20% of what they filed, and that 20% category under NHR falls into income that you earn within Portugal. Now, be reminded, as I said in the beginning of this video, I own a business in the United States. I'm paid from the business in the United States. So immediately, I tried to contact this horrible woman who filed my taxes. Her name is Teresa, and I don't care about putting her out on blast because she was terrible, and I'll get into that a little bit further. Didn't hear back from her for a couple days. Now, again, this is like an urgent thing because this is due in 2 weeks of when I received it, and I need to understand what happened, why this happened, etc. I'm calling the office, no answer. I called one day and they're like, oh, she's busy, she'll call you back. Didn't call me back. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to need a plan B because several days now are going by. They're not responding to my emails. They're not responding to my calls. And I need to get this resolved. So I reached out to another expat friend of mine, and she gives me the contact of a tax lawyer. I reach out to the tax lawyer and I tell them what the situation is. I send them a copy of this bill. I send them a copy of the filing, and I explain again what my situation is as a US citizen, business owner in the US, earning income from the US. I'm going to read to you what they replied to me because this obviously was very revelatory and started to make me realize that, okay, these people who did my taxes did them incorrectly. All right, they said two things. There's two emails that I need to highlight. They said, first of all, Dear Adrian, in that case, I can confirm that your tax returns were filed incorrectly as your income was declared as arising not from dividends but from professional income, which could be correct if the company was transparent/disregarded for tax purposes. My suggestion is to immediately change the tax returns. However, because the tax is due on the 2nd of September, it is possible that you have to pay it and then get a reimbursement if your tax statement is not analyzed in the meantime. Submitting changes or even challenging the tax assessment does not suspend or grant you an extension in the payment deadline. The tax authorities may also request documents to confirm that these were indeed dividends, so you should make sure that you have those types of documents and possibly send it to us for analysis before submitting the tax returns. So I was like, all right, well, this is confusing because technically my income is not actually dividends in the United States. It's something called a guaranteed payment. Now, I know this is getting very, very technical, but I think that for some of you, this will actually be kind of useful because if you're coming here as a digital nomad, depending on how you earn your income, it's very relevant. Now, I hardly ever meet anybody who's in my scenario of a business owner of an LLC and receiving payment the way that I do. But again, nonetheless, this is very generally enlightening if you are working here in Portugal and earning some kind of income from abroad. So this tax attorney was going to charge me 120 euros an hour plus VAT, again 23%, and they wanted 250 euro deposit. Again, fine, because it seems like a really fast tax amendment. It probably wouldn't take them more than an hour. And again, the other company wanted to charge me 350 euros to just do it wrong. So then I actually wrote them back and I said, I'm not sure if my income is classified as dividends because it's actually not in the United States, but I clarified exactly what, it was. And I also asked specifically because I read that in the NHR scheme, there's no taxation on labor income sourced outside Portugal if taxed in the source country. Now that does apply to me no matter what, okay? Because labor income, so I'm earning a guaranteed payment for my work in my own business outside of Portugal, and I need to pay tax in the United States. So I asked for confirmation, and then they said, Dear Adrian, my understanding is that although this income is not considered as dividends in the USA, it is considered as income from capital, in which category dividends also fall into in Portugal. Important distinction. There is a double tax treaty between Portugal and the USA, and this specific income, in accordance with the instructions published by the Portuguese Tax Authority, which are not exactly binding but are a good indicator of the Portuguese tax authorities on this regard, is taxed under Article 24 due to paragraph 3 of the protocol, and not under Article 10 as pure dividends would be. Regardless, income that falls under Article 24 may still be taxed in the USA. Therefore, the income being qualified under Portuguese law as analogous to dividends and being taxable in the USA will make it exempt from taxation in Portugal under the NHR regime. Ta-da! So, in normal person speak, and to make that more concise, the lawyer is telling me I should not be paying tax in Portugal. And therefore, this bill that I received of nearly 5,000 euros to pay within 2 weeks is wrong. This all arose from the fact that the people that I hired to file my taxes originally here, they filed it wrong. Now, this has been a nightmare. The nightmare started as soon as I opened this letter and I saw I owed that money. Then the nightmare ensued because I was trying to reach out to the people that originally filed my tax and they were not responsive. And then the nightmare continued further, and let me just tell you. Then I said to these lawyers, great, please send me an engagement letter. I will pay the deposit. Let's move forward. That was already last week on Friday, or actually Thursday even. Friday goes by, they don't send me the engagement letter or invoice. The weekend goes by, nothing. Monday goes by, still nothing. Today is Tuesday. I followed up phone, email, several times. Nobody's sending me the engagement letter. Nobody's sending me the invoice for them to actually get to work. Again, time is of the essence because as of today, actually, that I'm recording this video, it's August 27th, tax bill due on September 2nd. So, here's the saving grace. I would call him an acquaintance. He's not an actual friend. He's someone that I met at the gym, a Portuguese guy. And we had talked before, and he is in finance. And I thought, you know what, let me just take a swing at this and ask if he has any advice for me. So I tell him my situation, what happened, send him all these documents. You know what? Sometimes God is looking out for you, even if whatever higher being put all of these obstacles and horrible things in your path in the first place. Because it just so happened that the father of this guy was an old head of the Finanças in his region of Portugal. So, he asks his dad for advice. He asks his dad what to do. Dad confirms that I shouldn't be getting this bill. And at first, Luis himself tries to log into my Finanças account. Now, there's a website that you can go to for the Finanças. You get a login. Even that was a nightmare to deal with, but whatever, we're going to gloss over that right now. Luis, who's Portuguese, is not able to do it. He can't figure out the system, even though he's very smart and in finance. He's not a tax guy. So he asks his dad, who's retired, to do it, and his dad is able to get it done, file the amended return. So, God, I mean, that's kind of what has happened as of today. Now, this morning, before Luis and his dad actually amended my tax returns, I got a call back, finally, from this horrible lady Teresa at Eurofinanzas. And she had the audacity to be rude to me on the phone, where I was explaining, I've been urgently trying to reach you. I spoke to a lawyer, my taxes were filed incorrectly, and she took umbrage at me telling her that they were filed incorrectly. She says, well, I'll get back to you, tomorrow. I'm like, meanwhile, it's already been a week, and the taxes need to be amended within the next, 5 or 6 days. Finally, after Luis and his dad did this, I emailed her and I'm like, you know what, forget it. I don't need your help. I'm not going to pay the invoice also that they had originally sent me because they did it wrong. I don't even understand how this happened. Again, you pay someone who's supposed to be an expert in this issue, and again, not a cheap amount of money, and they just completely dropped the ball. And then meanwhile, again, to receive a bill like this, which was probably sent a month out before I was actually supposed to pay, but again, because I lost my mailbox key and this was in my mailbox for 2 weeks, by the time I opened it, I realized I had 2 weeks to pay this amount of money. Now, here's the thing that's still difficult. As I said in the emails that the lawyer sent me, they think that I may still have to pay the tax until someone from the Finanças department reviews my amended return and then, ascertains that I don't owe the money. Now, with my experience of how things are in Portugal, do you think that I want to give them $5,000 and wait who knows how long for them to return that money? Even though Louise said that I can claim interest on that money if I pay it, I don't want to give them 5,000 euros and wait to be reimbursed because it could take anywhere from 3 to 6 or more months. This is a country where things are completely unpredictable and they can move very often very, very slowly. I mean, it took me, I think, 7 months to finally receive my residency card. Now, here's the issue. That if I don't pay it, eventually they will freeze my bank account here in Portugal. Now, it's kind of annoying if they do that because I use that bank account to pay all of my automated utility bills and things like this. But it's really not the end of the world because most of my money is in the United States and I only transfer money into my Portuguese account to pay for rent, utilities. So again, I would rather have them almost freeze my account as opposed to pay it and wait for who knows how long to get that money back. However, Luis also told me that it's not immediate, that as of September 2nd when it's due, my account's gonna be frozen. They will send me a warning first, and then from that warning I can either go onto the website and create a payment plan, which again, even this would be better. If I'm able to pay it in quarters, then I'm not paying them the full amount and waiting, and then hopefully I've only paid maybe 1/4 of the amount that's owed before someone actually reviews my tax case and returns that money to me. Again, better situation because I don't want to tie up that, liquidity, and I think I'm going to need to pay that in the United States anyway. Now, here's where this is all a big clusterfuck. I was waiting to file my US personal taxes until I understood what the situation here in Portugal is. Now my taxes in the US are late because of all of this drama. And it's just, I mean, the nightmare and the confusion. So the whole reason, I don't know if you really wanted to sit through my personal drama with this and hear everything and whether this has relevancy to you or not. But here are the boiled down lessons that I've learned from this experience. As soon as you move here, you need to start thinking about whether you are liable to be filing your tax returns in Portugal. And find someone who is very competent to file them for you. Make sure that you speak to that person on the phone, have them go over the situation with you, make sure that you explain to them, what is your specific situation of how you're earning your income, from where you're earning your income, and making sure that they're going to file it correctly. Now, even that, I feel it doesn't really guarantee you, that it's going to be done above board because, and again, in my case with this original company that I used, they sent me a tax simulation bill and it said I should owe 1,500 euros, not 4,500. So I don't know how that, why I got a simulation for one amount and an actual tax bill for the other. But regardless, the lawyer that I spoke to who looked at this and the former head of the Finanças in a regional department told me that they filed it as if I was earning this income from within Portugal, and that is obviously not my case. Now, again, this is just so complicated. Here we're dealing with international taxes about, so many things that just go beyond anybody's normal comprehension unless they're really an expert in this field. Unfortunately, for people that are experts, they're going to want a lot of money. Maybe if I had hired this person for 1,200 euros, they would have done it correctly. But again, I feel like that's extortion. That's really unfair to charge someone that much money. And I'm not making a huge amount. You know, my income that was declared in Portugal, you know, it does not justify paying 1,200 euros. So I would really recommend to, you know, do your research, but you are going to need to hire someone because figuring out the Finanças website yourself is impossible. And it's, I mean, even if you're Portuguese, even if you're in finance, like my acquaintance Luis is. So, you know, that's what I went through, and it's just been a very frustrating experience. Again, also because this happened in the month of August when a lot of people are on a holiday, not very responsive, and you know, time is of the essence. Like I'm dealing with an urgent situation where the tax return needs to be amended before September 2nd. Again, I don't know, I got very lucky in having someone who was able to intervene for me, who knows the system, because if not, I would still be pulling out my hair chasing after these people, whether it was a law firm or whether it was the original tax filing firm, and neither of them all of a sudden were responsive. Just people are very eager, you know, I was going to say people are very eager to take your money, but that wasn't even the case, because with the lawyers I said, please take my money, send me an invoice, and then they wouldn't do it. You know, and again, it's like when you have this looming over you and you have a very short deadline, every day that goes by is very stressful. So, you know, if you're not from the United States, your situation will be a little bit different. Again, if you are American, which I think a lot of people maybe might be who are watching this video, and you are still earning income, let's say like as an independent contractor in the United States, then your taxes are due there, not here, but you still need to file a return and show that, you know, what your income was earned from the United States, that you're paying taxes on it there and not here. Again, if you have the NHR, you shouldn't be owing any money on that, even though you're living here in Portugal. So, God, I mean, what I have been through with this makes me miss Bali, let me tell you that. Like, just a very stressful situation to be in, and you know, the things here when you have to deal with them can be much more costly than when you're dealing, you know, in another country. So that's it for this video. I know it was very long-winded, I know it was very specific, but I know at the same time that it will help some people out there who are, you know, going through this process or who are going to be starting down this process of moving here, because taxes are something that are inevitable. So it's better that you know about it, and better that you get on it as quickly as possible, as soon as like the fiscal year ends. You know, start looking for someone who's going to do this. Again, for me, this is always complicated because I have to wait until my business tax is done before I can do my personal tax, and everything takes a long time. Everything is complicated when it comes to me, finances, and taxes. I'm sure my situation is maybe not the most complicated out there, but it's certainly not the easiest either. Anyway, that's it for this video. It's been a long time coming. I also just want to say, you know, if you've been a subscriber to this channel for a while, you may have noticed that I started making some new kinds of content recently with a Portuguese drag queen friend of mine, Miss Velvet. I did have those videos on this channel, but I actually took them off to create a new channel just for that, because I know that those types of videos do not appeal to everybody who has been subscribed to me for longer. So if you're interested in those videos, I'm going to put the link to that channel here, somewhere here on this screen, and you can go check those out. They're actually a lot of fun, and they are more kind of playful and just fun videos to make, because I don't always have things to tell you, and I'm not always in the mood even to make these kinds of videos, but I do enjoy having this dialogue with you, and again, I hope that this is helpful to some people out there. So, thank you guys for watching. Until the next time, take care, and I'll see you later.